Governor Mike Huckabee is on the line right now. Of course, you see him on Fox News every weekend, and he's, of course, a former presidential candidate.
We hear him here every morning at 5:30.
That's
with
right.
The Huckabee Report.
We do the Huckabee. We play the Huckabee Report every morning, 5:30, and you can hear him here as well. Governor, how are you?
Well, doing great, and I'm glad you're listening every day. See, that gives you something to talk about all day long.
That's right. You help us set the agenda
You are
for the day.
our show prep.
There you
Mike
go.
Huckabee.
There you go.
All right, so listen, the Supreme Court, the Supremes have got a huge decision to come back. It involves same-sex marriage and the Defense of Marriage Act. You've been very outspoken about this in the past. Do you have any feeling for how you think it might go?
You know, it's hard to predict this court. I mean, I never thought they would approve Obamacare, but I can't help but think that they don't want to decide what marriage is. That's not something that the court really has any jurisdiction to decide. And if they are smart, which we'll find out today, what they'll say is that this is an issue that the states decide and the states' voters decide, which has happened in about 35 states. So if that happens, then California's Prop 8 would be law, and DOMA would be able to be repealed, but only by an act of Congress, not by the Supreme Court.
But given, Governor, beyond what the Supreme Court says, though, this is a tumultuous issue for families, for communities. And I know that you like to look beyond just Washington and look at what's happening in communities. You see in San Francisco right now, they're inflating balloons and getting ready for a mass march and celebration. However, if it goes the wrong way, that celebration could turn kind of into an ugly protest. I mean, this is such a divisive issue right now. How can our nation get to a point where we reach some resolution on it?
Well, I think there needs to be civility as it's is dealt with, and there's been some amazingly hostile attitudes directed, and some on both sides, but I've never seen the level of vitriol that came toward not just me, but if you look at what happened right there in Washington, the attempted assassination of workers at the Family Research Council because someone was stirred by the Southern Poverty Law Center who would call Family Research a hate group and went in there with a gun and Chick-fil-A sandwiches intending to kill workers and smear Chick-fil-A sandwiches in their faces. That's not how America decides issues. We do it at the ballot box. We do it not with bullets but with ballots, and that's how this needs to be resolved.
All right, so I want to ask you, the president gave a big speech yesterday on climate change, and I'm just reading this, that Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia is so angry about what the president said yesterday with regard to coal that he was asked on Fox News, Fox and Friends, on a scale of 1 to 10, how PO'd are you? And he said, you don't have a scale that can measure that. How is that going to play out in the days? Because a lot of people just are sort of like, the president just said, hey, the science is accepted fact now.
No more debate.
No more debate.
Well, the science is accepted fact that a human being starts at conception, but the president ignores that scientific fact and continues to push for unlimited abortion. So, this is a president that picks his scientific issues very carefully according to a political agenda, not according to science. And if in a time when we have high unemployment, the largest number of Americans having dropped out of the workforce, if he honest to God thinks that the most important thing is to raise energy prices, put more Americans out of work, do nothing about pollution since most of it's coming from China, and they're not going to follow the president's lead on this, then somebody's missing something somewhere. And I cannot imagine why this president, who on one hand calls a Texas legislator and praises her for disrupting the process, then turns around and decides he's going to, disrupt the process of legislation by going around Congress, and he's going to implement things by executive order through the EPA. It is an unprecedented power grab, but the worst part of it is the economic and employment effects upon Americans are going to be profound.
Governor Mike Huckabee, I love this argument comparing the abortion question to climate change. Can I get you into a nice, neat little soundbite here? Are you saying that when it comes to abortion, the president and the Democrats who support the pro-choice side are being anti-science?
Well, of course they are. It is an irrefutable fact of biology that life begins when 23 male and 23 female chromosomes come together at conception. That's the initiation of life, in which a DNA schedule is created that individual will hold for the rest of his or her life. That's when life begins. We know that scientifically. We can argue it theologically, we can argue it philosophically, but not biologically. So when the science is that clear on when life begins, The Democrats ignore that. And for them to claim that they're the party of science is utter nonsense.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. All right, now listen, we have a big week ahead of us. You and I are co-hosting Troopathon. This is tomorrow. It's from the Nixon Library in Yorba Linda, and it's going to be 8 hours. I think it starts at 4 o'clock Eastern. It goes to it goes to midnight, right?
Yeah.
4 to midnight Eastern.
I think that's right, yeah.
At Troopathon.com. Talk to me about the group Move America Forward and what Troopathon does. What are we going to be raising money for, Governor?
Well, to provide care packets for those who are serving us overseas, specifically in Afghanistan, but other places as well. And it was originally founded by Debbie Lee, whose son Mark was the first Navy SEAL killed in action during the Afghanistan war. It's now grown into a massive event. We'll have Gary Sinise and all different types of celebrities who will be participating in Troopathon. Of course, the biggest celebrity is you, but beyond that, we have other celebrities as well. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I think most importantly, we want to call attention not only to the needs of our servicemen and women, but we want to just let this be a great patriotic event to honor those who put on uniforms and keep us free.
Can I ask you one question?
Sure you
Are
can.
you coming to me from the glorious Emerald Coast of Florida right
Yes,
now?
I am, and it is a beautiful
You guys are
day.
neighbors down there.
Yeah, I have a place not far from the governor's place down there. Just describe for people how gorgeous and how exciting it is down there now, because it's really booming and coming back after the BP and the housing crash. They really were hit upon hard times, and it's really starting to come back.
Well, it's an amazing place. The sugar white
Yeah,
sands
it's
are
amazing.
unlike anything on Earth, and the sand is like powder, not grimy, gritty, and brown, and it literally looks like snow. And it's the only place where the sand is the result of crystal mountains rather than rock and shell. And so that combined with this brilliant emerald water and this laid-back
all right,
southern
you're killing us.
lifestyle.
You're killing us.
I tell you, I was just there. I've never seen it prettier.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Governor Huckabee, wait, I'm not going to let you go without this quick question. You know, when we're at the Nixon Library, we're going to be broadcasting from the room that looks just like the East Room. They've got a replica of the Oval Office there. Are you going to start getting the hankering for a run for the presidency because you're in this pretend White House down there? You're running in 2016, right?
Well, it could happen. Who knows? But I know one thing I'm going to do is rehearse kind of the White House official line. I'm going to stand up on that stage and repeatedly say, I don't know, I can't recall that.
Yeah,
So
no.
I'll
That'll
feel
be
like
fun.
that I'm at least having some identity with the
No,
current
you're a
White
shoo-in.
House.
And it was Bush's fault.
It was Bush's fault. Absolutely. Still is.
All right. Governor Mike Huckabee, always a pleasure.
Thanks a bunch.
See you tomorrow,
Good talking to
Governor.
guys.
Bye-bye.